In the House of Commons today, MPs continued to debate the government's plans to change the Veterans' Charter. Meanwhile, outside on Parliament Hill, Canadian veterans and their families rallied to vent their frustration. Retired Major Mark Campbell was there. He was severely injured in 2008 during his second tour of duty in Afghanistan. Here's part of what he had to say to reporters, for the record.
Do you feel like your country is grateful for your service and your sacrifice?
I feel like you're grateful. I'm not sure my government is grateful. I feel betrayed by the government of Canada. I feel fundamentally betrayed. I served this country for 33 years. I got hurt. I lost my legs. I lost a testicle. Sexual dysfunction in a 24-year-old marriage. Ruptured right eardrum. Hearing loss. PTSD. Major depressive disorder. Severe genital scarring. Abdominal scarring. All of these injuries I acquired in the service of Canada. That was my sacrifice. To come home and find out that my country doesn't have my back to the degree that I was told it would have was hurtful, very hurtful. And if you want to talk about trauma, let me tell you about trauma. This, missing legs, is nothing. I was trained to deal with adversity. I'm 5 years on, I'm moving on with my life. The problem is, I have trauma. I have ongoing trauma caused by a federal government that has betrayed me and my peers in our time of need. That's my trauma. My trauma is ongoing. Every friggin' day I wake up and realize this new Veterans Charter is still a bag of crap and it hasn't been sorted out like it ought to have been.
For the record, that was retired Major Mark Campbell speaking to reporters on Parliament Hill today. He was at a veterans protest called Rock the Hill. Jennifer Mignot was also at the rally. Her husband is a vet with PTSD. And last week, Ms. Mignot made news when she approached Veterans Affairs Minister Julian Fantino, who walked away as the cameras rolled. Here's what followed.
Mr. Fantino, as a spouse, can I talk to you, please? Mr. Fantino, I'm just a vet spouse. You're forgetting us. Once more.
That was Jennifer Mignot chasing after Veterans Affairs Minister Julian Fantino last week. Ms. Mignot is the wife of Claude Dranville, who, as you heard, has PTSD. She was invited to speak to the NDP caucus today. We reached her afterwards. And a warning, this interview contains some strong language.
Ms. Mignot, what have you been hearing from other spouses of veterans since you made the news last week?
Oh, my God. Do you know how many emails and Facebook messages I did receive from spouses, but not only spouses, from veterans themselves, militaries, caregivers at large? I was submerged. And to find out that, my God, we're all the same from coast to coast. We all live the same situation and the same challenges, and that our needs are the same for everybody.
What's the main problem? What's the main thing, that emotion or difficulty that you found consistent in all those responses?
The inability to cope with PTSD. They are exhausted because they don't have the tools that they should have in order to deal. Because, dealing with someone with PTSD, like in my case for 13 years now, if you don't have the right tools, you're hitting a wall. And I did hit that wall, and what I'm seeing is that there are hundreds just like me who are hitting the same wall.
When you were chasing after Minister Fantino, you said, I'm just a vet spouse, just a vet spouse. But it sounds like these vet spouses are carrying a great deal of the burden of the soldiers who have returned from serving for Canada.
Yeah, I'm just a vet spouse. You're right. I'm just a vet spouse. Yeah, this is what I am. This is what the system led me to believe. Yeah, I'm just a vet spouse.
But you're the main part of the support structure. This is the you are the net in many respects.
This I know, but it seems to me that the rest of society doesn't know yet. Like, I know the kind of impact I can have on my husband. I do have on my husband. I know that when he wanted to kill himself, he had my face in his mind. I know I'm the reason why he's still alive today. But I'm the only one who knows that. Because every time he was evaluated by a psychiatrist, no one actually asked me what I was seeing at home, what I was observing. I'm not included anywhere. I get no information. I've got tons of examples of how I've been left out. And being just a vet's wife represents all this. I'm not just a vet spouse to my husband. This I know. But it seems to me like for the rest of the world, this is what I am.
You mentioned elsewhere that you find that in the United States, that vet spouses are given the tools they need. What exactly are you looking for from the government that would help you to be the support you think you can be for your husband?
You know, I'm flexible, meaning that I don't care if it's VAX that put in place a training program for us.
That's Veteran Affairs, yes.
Or I'd be willing, to have that kind of training in my community also, because these resources already exist. Should VAC work more with communities? Maybe, but one thing is absolutely sure. We need to have a program in order to be trained to deal with the challenges we have to face every day and every night.
The Veterans Affairs Committee, that includes conservatives in that committee, they're recommending changes to the Veterans Charter. They're recommending that spouses like you, who are primary caregivers, get financial support and they get access to counseling. Would that satisfy you?
No, in part, yes. But you just said the magic word. They would recommend. Now, they have plenty of money for publicity. Are they going to have that kind of money for us? That's my question.
Who's they, and what publicity are you referring to?
Whoever will take the decision. I don't care who takes the decision. Mr. Harper, Mr. Fantino, the Conservatives, the committee, I don't care. But we need to have that program be in place as soon as possible. And just have these people stop seeing us as burdens, because we're not. We know what we mean to our men and women. But gee, help us. Help us. We need it now.
You are having an impact because you came up in question period today. There was an answer to a question today from Tom Mulcair. I just want you to hear what Justice Minister Peter MacKay said.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Firstly, let me thank Madame Mignot and her husband for their incredible service to our country. Of course, we respect the challenges that they are facing with respect to post-traumatic stress within their family unit. Mr. Speaker, the reality is that we are dealing in a very comprehensive way with the challenges faced by veterans and their families. With respect to improving benefits, I note that through 8 budgets, our government has now earmarked more than $4.7 billion to improve upon the services available to veterans and their families. I know the NDP have voted against those improvements.
Jennifer Mignon, that was Justice Minister Peter MacKay talking about you and what the government has done. Do you think the Conservatives are unappreciated in their efforts?
You know what? This is the sad part of everything. I have to hear this. And you know what? Tonight, I'm going back to bed with my husband, and his tinnitus will still hurt him and make him cry. And tonight, I will be the one who will have to console him. Do you understand that? I mean, blah, 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 blah all the time. They don't have a heart. Just to take a moment and to see what we're going through. Everybody's recognizing PTSD for what it is. But then again, they're going to tell everyone, anger and everything. Yes, we deal with that. They might see a psychologist 1 hour a week. But 7 days a week and 24 hours a day, ma'am, I'm there. I'm on the front line. So the blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's an insult. It's the ultimate proof that we are forgotten and underestimated. You were asking me why are you saying you're just a vet's wife where you have the proof right there? Where were these people when our children couldn't handle their father? Now my husband's children are not talking to him. Where were they, these people? This is an impact to PTSD. And everybody knows how much people surrounding a wounded warrior is important and precious. And this means the difference between life and death. I'm sorry, I don't want to be rude, but it sounds like bullshit to me. It's bullshit. It's an insult. Oh my God, you know, and they're gonna get political about all this. I'm just asking for the help I should have in order to help my husband, their hero. No heart, no ears to listen, no consideration. This is what I get. This is what I feel. And I'm sure that if other spouses just like me are listening to this, they will feel the same way. And I certainly hope that veterans are feeling the same way as I am. I hope that our men and women, I know they are listening and I know they're supporting. But gee, you know, we're doing this, we're doing that. No, you're not doing the job. Give us the training. Let me give you an example. My husband was trained to fight. When he has nightmares, and then he fights in his nightmare because he dreams that he's being killed or that he's killing someone, tell me how to wake him up. Because you know how many times I was punched, and God knows it was very unconscious. Of course, my husband was sleeping. Do you know how many of us wake up being grabbed by the throat? And this is the reality. So I'm sorry. This is bullshit. I'm mad.
Ms. Mignot, you are coming through so clear and so powerfully, and I'm sorry for what you and your husband are going through, but I think that no one can hear you and not understand that you need help.
Thank you so much for understanding and validating that I'm not crazy.
You're not crazy at all, Madame. You're very clear, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Jennifer Mignot is the wife of Claude Ranville, a veteran with PTSD. She was in Ottawa. We did request interviews with both Veterans Affairs Minister Julian Fantino and Justice Minister Peter MacKay. Minister Fantino was unavailable, and we hadn't heard back from Minister MacKay by the time we went to air.